Thank you for staying tuned to Business Today. Now, business owners in the north operating service stations are being forced out of business as their potential customers now buy fuel from fuel smugglers who get it at a cheaper price from Angola. This has forced the Namibia Local Businesses Association, NALOBA, to engage various line ministries in an effort to stop smuggling activities, also known as Ngungula. However, that effort did not yield any positive results, and recently NALOBA took up the matter with the highest office, the Office of the President. And to tell us more on this effort, I'm now joined in studio by NALOBA Vice President Peter Amadhila. Mr. Amadhila, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We know that fuel smuggling has been an ongoing concern, threatening not only businesses but the country's economy in general. Could you just paint us the current picture of the current status regarding fuel smuggling in the country, and is there any adherence to not engage in this?
Thank you, Selma. Good evening to the listeners and the viewers across the Republic of Namibia. Good evening, all of you. Yes, thank you for having me here. It is a good thing to have me here, to have NALOBA here, and to hear what the voice of NALOBA is about it. Mm-hmm. Fuel smuggling has been a burning issue, and it continues to be a burning issue on a daily basis. The fact that we have got a porous border, the smuggling continue, and every day it is just getting worse and worse.
I mean, as you rightfully mentioned, that the situation persists, but also this is despite, patrolling measures in place. This is despite the patrol at the border area. This is despite the apprehension of the smugglers and confiscation of, liters of fuel per day. But what do you think is the contributing factors to this roaring smuggling business in the, up north? And also, why do you think it's such a challenge to combat the issue?
Currently, fuel smugglers are taking this opportunity to earn income, simply because the fuel in Angola is quite very, very cheap in comparison to here. The smuggling is increasing at an alarming rate, as I am indicating. Currently, the police is entrusted to look and patrol in the borders. But the patrol is not so intensive because the border is porous, and police spots and posts are far away from one another, you understand? There's really not much impact on that control. This is why a lot of effort needs to be put in to make sure that the control is being elevated. Just to put you in perspective, the Namibian fuel industry is being highly affected by this. The Namibian economy is highly affected in this. We all know that out of the liter, the government is the main stakeholder per liter sold of fuel. Yes, a lot of people that do not understand it, and they did not think into a bigger perspective and a bigger picture. They think probably the service station owners are being selfish to not allow them to buy cheap fuel. But if you think it in a bigger picture, in terms of the economy, in terms of the benefit that is being drawn out of a liter of petrol being sold, because if a liter of petrol is being sold, NAMRA shares in the levy, road fund shares in the levy, the motor vehicle accident, which contribute to when Namibians get involved in an accident, there is a fund that is there to make sure that they're being treated. Shares a lot of percentage in the levy, the petrol fund and other stakeholders. So it's not that the service station owner or the business community is against the people that are buying cheap fuel. That if you think about it, that is just you're thinking about individual benefit. While here in terms of the economy, that is quite bleeding, is really a bad impact.
Just to expand perhaps on how this has also affected service stations up north, as we know that also the Puma service station in Omafo has also closed down due to a lack of customers. Maybe you can also just expand on that and some of the other stations that have also been affected.
Currently in the north, especially in the towns that are bordering the borders with Angola, I'm referring from Ruacana, all those towns that are alongside the border, Outapi or Kalongo or Mafo, until you go to Kavango, they are highly affected. Actually, there's no business. There's no longer business because fuel, the cheap fuel from Angola is everywhere. It's not only making negative economic impact, it impacts also socially on a negative way. If you look at a lot of children now that used to be in school, a lot of them have dropped school and they have engaged themselves now in selling this cheap fuel, or they are being utilized as conduit to smuggling, you understand? And that has got a negative consequence on the education and the future of those children. If you look at, for example, in the villages, in the houses, people are having containers of fuel, even in the kaya. People are sleeping together with fuel, you understand? It has got a devastating negative consequences on the mental health of a person. The reason that the service stations are being issued with licenses is because there has been studies like environmental clearance and consequences, you understand?
Yeah.
That until you certify that, yes, this place is fit for fuel storage and fuel sales and so forth. But if you look in the homes are exposed to a lot of risk, fire hazard, because fuels are stored. I tell you, if you go alongside the border and search in all the houses, in Namibia and in Angola, it's just containers of fuel, and it's really worrisome.
And I mean, you highlighted the issue that is the affordability of fuel in Angola that is way cheaper than in Namibia. And of course, some people will say just reduce the fuel in Namibia so people don't smuggle fuel anymore. But of course, we must also understand that the price of fuel in Namibia is also influenced by external factors. But I just want to gauge your opinion or your view on what the possible alternative could be as NALOBA.
As an association, NALOBA has engaged the stakeholders in the industry. We have engaged the Office of the Minister, the Ministry of Mines and Energy. We have engaged the Minister himself, Honorable Toma Alwendo. We even brought him, invited him down to the borders, and we were at Oshikango in Ohangwena. He himself, he have seen how people are running around with Ngungula. People were even offering the car where he was riding to buy, you understand. It is just quite worrisome. Yes, of course, we engaged that office to look for solutions. How can we combat this alarming chronic, but without much result being yielded from his office. This is why we took a decision to say, okay, we're not getting solution from the minister, we're not getting solution from the ministry. Let us go engage the highest office, which is the appointing authority. That is why NALOBA now took a concrete step and make an appointment to visit the head of state so that he can listen to the plight and to listen to the challenges that are faced, that there is no more business as a result of smuggling. Yeah.
What has been the response from that discussion?
We went to the State House. First of all, I must indicate that President Dr. Mbumba is a very, very good gentleman. Is a man of the people. I think he is a president who has got a will and want to see things changing as we speak. You know, our advocacy and our mandate as an association of native businessmen and women in the country, we are there to advise the government of the Republic on issues that pertain to the economy, that affect the economies, issues that could liberate our economy and grow it, you understand. His response was very good. He referred back us again to where we came from the minister. He said we should again engage with the minister. The minister response on that is that, you know, just to put you into perspective, fuel in Angola is cheap, but it's not cheap to say it is cheap. Fuel in Angola is just refined at a refinery outside Angola, where probably Namibia fuel also comes from, and the price do not vary. The prices of fuel in Angola is dropped as a result of the government itself having a heart for their people, you understand? And they say, let us subsidize the fuel for the people, because the people, some of them, a lot of people in Angola, they are unemployed and they need help of the government. So their fuel is coming out cheap because it's subsidized by their government. And now the response of our minister clearly says that, no, now we should rely on, because they are apparently engaging the Angolan government to see if the Angolan government can lift up their prices to leverage our price in Namibia. And I think the minister now say we should wait on the response on that. And I think we will wait until Jesus comes, because nobody will be able to lower that. That is a benefit that they have given their own people to help them. You understand, especially the poor people.
And how long has the waiting period been since the minister told you to wait for this response?
That has been ongoing up to now, and he mentioned it even on our visit when we went to the State House. He continued to mention that one of the solutions is to wait for the Angolan government to pronounce itself on seeing whether they can leverage. But that is that is not a hope. I think the minister has got no answer, and now putting down the feet to the ground, the business people, because a lot of them borrowed funds from commercial institutions to fund these operations, to start up these operations, and now they're in default with financial institutions. And then we came up strongly to say, okay, since we're not getting any solution, we need to put in a claim. The government is the regulator of the fuel industry. We came up with a proposal to put in a claim so that government can look at it strongly to compensate the affected service station until they have got a solution.
Now let's just shift our focus, Mr. Amadhila, because you also, is my understanding that NALOBA is unhappy with NAMRA's operation, particularly them refusing to write off debt incurred by businesses. Can you just expand a little bit more on that and what your expectations actually are?
Yeah, highlighting on NAMRA, that was one of the points on the agenda that we took also to the State House, to His Excellency the President, because we have engaged up and down with NAMRA several times, and it seems there is no understanding. It seems there is no understanding from the NAMRA side, but we hear their side. Mm-hmm. They have tried different angle to assist us here. We really appreciate them for that. Let me tell you that all the business personnel in the country, especially native businessmen and women, want to comply. We want to be tax-abiding companies and citizens. We want to really comply with the tax. But first of all, let me take you to the historical background of our people. Our people are coming from a history where they were colonized. They did not receive education. They don't know whether they had to pay tax. Some of them, even when you talk about tax, they probably think it's a car, the taxi.
So it's an issue of education.
It's an issue of an education. And NAMRA as an institution was established up in 2022. And then we say, why can't NAMRA focus on the tax owed since their establishment? Because currently now they are digging tax debt as of 2010 up to today, and that was the mandate of the Ministry of Finance itself, and the Ministry of Finance was an entity on its own. So we strongly recommend that NAMRA start on tax matter since their inception as an institution. Yes, of course, we have taken note and appreciate the tax amnesty that they have given, but it does not really unlock the potential, because for a businessman to pay off the principal debt and get the interest and penalty waived off, he has to pay the principal debt, and he need to be unlocked to go get money to pay the principal debt. So in other words, it's like you're giving me food, but my hands are handcuffed, and you say, eat. You will not eat. You want to eat, but you can't. Your hands are tied. So when we went to the head of state, we went to him because, once again, he is the head of state. He is the appointing authority. We went to him and kneeled down to him to say, Dr. President, look into the issue of debt of native businessmen and women in the country, and consider giving them a parole. Because even prisoners, even the countries, sometimes they owe debt to international markets and banks, and sometimes they get their debts written off. So we went there to plead with the head of states to look at to pardon the business community and write off this debt, and then we start from page 1. And we strongly now recommend that NAMRA now comes in with education. Educate our business community on tax matters so that we can be compliant and going forward to support our economy for the livelihood of our people and everybody.
Mm-hmm. I mean, additionally, also businesses with a turnover below 1 million may no longer be required to register for or file returns if amendments, as actually, earlier mentioned, to the Value Added Tax Act, if it's approved, that is. What do you make of this? Because, I mean, this should be a relief to businesses to grow their businesses.
Yeah, these are the issues that we have been pushing as an association. NALOBA has been advocating on that. I think during stakeholder consultations, the minister have really just see that it's a valid point and it's worth looking at. Yes, of course, he's tabling it. It should receive favorable consideration, and it will help a lot of business to start up and stand up successfully. Mm-hmm. As we currently, just to highlight on that, currently there is no business. The whole business community of native personnel is dead. I see NAMRA as an institution celebrating that they have collected 21 billion or so. How many? I saw it on the newspaper. Mm-hmm. For us as business community, it's not a celebration. It's a celebration on them that they have collected revenues, but here business is left dead.
Uh-huh. Just to take you back in our discussion, Mr. Amadhila, earlier you mentioned how the service station owners want to be compensated by the government. Is that a realistic request?
If, you know, the government is the custodian of the laws, the government is the regulator of the industry. The president of the country has taken an oath that he will protect the sovereignty of the country and its territorial border. You understand? Currently, that is what is happening. It is not what is applicable. Therefore, as a last resort, we say if they cannot do this, let them do this. If they cannot protect the border, let them compensate those who have incurred the losses. We have a lot of businessmen and women now, as we speak, they are being stripped and they are being repossessed because they cannot pay off their loans that they borrowed to put up service station and so forth.
Well, Mr. Amadhila, we thank you so much for joining us this evening and for your information.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was NALOBA's Vice President, Peter Amadhila, shedding more light on their effort to stop fuel smuggling from Angola, and business owners in the north operating service stations are being forced out of business as the potential customers now buy fuel from smugglers. We'll be right back.